Hey, everybody. I'm Marvin Weisman.
I'm Sar.
This is the Weedkend
Weedkend Show.
Show podcast.
That's right.
Yeah, man, and we are back here at the 420 Friendly Hotel in Mexico City.
That's right.
We're going to do a special on that, you were telling me. I like that. I like that idea.
We're gonna do a review of the whole building. It's a nice
Review.
place.
We're going to critique it.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool place. It's brand new. It's like in a really nice area in Mexico City called Condesa.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been here about 3 years now. But yeah, it's, as you can see, it's brand new. And we're very excited to be doing some of the podcasts from this location. We're hoping to be moving around, obviously, but this one's awesome, and we're going to use it as much as we can. So what are we talking about, man?
So yeah, let's it's the end of January. A lot of things happen in January, especially in the U.S., as you guys know. So yeah, there was a lot of interesting things, and it's the closing of January. So yeah, let's talk about what happened at the beginning, right? Which was some crazy stuff in the D.C. area.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of Caracas, man. Seriously, I was amazed that, it really reminded me of when, Chavez was in power. And we were, going and protesting, and we didn't want him there, and this was the opposite, because these are actual Trump fans or voters or lovers or whatever, and they were the ones there, and I was like, wow, man, I didn't think that kind of shit went down in the States, but yeah, that was scary, man. I was very scared, actually. I didn't know if Biden was going to be able to, actually become president or not. I was actually worried, man. I was like, wow, man, what's going on in the world?
Yeah. Well, definitely, being in Mexico, like, as you guys know, the news are always different, right? Depending on where you are. So the news in the U.S. are very different than the news outside of the U.S. So even though, like, I know that, well, the way that I saw it, I knew that here's my take, dude. I think Trump is so dumb that he will never be able to, do something like that, become a dictator or something like that.
Yeah.
But he did get the base ready for that. Like, I think that the only thing that he needed was, like, the military. If he had the military with him, he could have done it.
Because that's the difference, man. That's what happens in Venezuela. Everyone's like, dude, why can't you guys, like, it's been 20-some years, and it's like, as long as the army, as the military, as is with the Chavez party, there's nothing you can do, man. And that's how it works in every country. And that's why one of the things that I kept telling, people, I don't know if the military is with Trump.
Yeah.
And now we know that no, they are the military, and they cannot be political.
Yeah. And
that's something, that now that finally Biden has the chance to show us what he can do, I'm kind of looking forward to it, because I'm not a Trump fan at all either.
Yeah.
I was very scared with him being in power, and especially in that country that is such a impacting country in the rest of the world. And yeah, man, I was very scared. He reminds me a lot of Chavez and Mussolini and Hitler and all these dictators, and I'm sure there's been one or two good commie dictators that invested in their countries, but you can count them with your hand. Most of them, they ruin countries like Cuba, like Venezuela, like what they seem to want to do here in Mexico. I'm sad to say, because I've been here 12 years, and it reminds me a bit about Venezuela, what's going on here. But yeah, man, the States is crazy, man. It's going to be a big change now with the new guys in office.
I agree with you that the thing in Mexico, because, I'm independent, I go both ways in some things. So it's like, I'm independent, and, I'm okay with, like, the other side that people don't like, or even I don't like, to be in power for, like, 4 years, 6 years, as long as they switch, as long as there's elections, and then people, rate them, and they're like, that was good, it was bad, so we're going to change it next, elections. I'm okay with that. But yeah, the thing about that I see is, like, once you get the army involved, and it starts becoming, like, more dictatorship, and, like, it's not as democratic as before, then that's where the problem starts. And I agree with you, like, Mexico right now is, like, when we're talking about the military, all of a sudden, like, the military is involved in a lot of things. They're starting back, they were a little behind before, but now they're, like, very involved in, like, construction of the airport in Mexico. They're supposed to make a bank for a bunch of people. Like, all of a sudden they're very involved, and that's never a good thing.
Yeah.
Especially another thing that a lot of Americans or people outside of Mexico don't realize is that there was the general of the military got caught in the U.S. last year because he was involved with narcos and all that stuff, all that corruption stuff,
That's what happens.
and they actually got him back. Like the U.S. let him go,
Yeah,
and
they wanted to extradite him here. They got him here,
yeah,
and then they let him go.
yeah,
It's very sad. It's sad because in Venezuela, it's the same thing. It's like when Chavez came in, the first thing he did, well, first he was military. So he already had that on his side.
I didn't
When
know that, yeah.
Yeah, he was already a high-ranked military. He actually did a golpe de estado, a coup.
yeah, cool.
He actually did a coup, and he went to jail for this coup because he failed. And the only reason he became president in Venezuela is because the guy who was president at that moment pardoned him. If he would have never had pardoned him, he could have never run for president.
Yeah, damn, it's crazy.
Yeah. So I'd like to know how much money Chavez gave that old bastard before he died.
Oh yeah, now he's paying the favor. Like, well, no, he's dead. I'm sorry. He's
Yeah,
dead.
no, he's dead.
Yeah.
Chavez is dead, but he inherited the country to Maduro, and Maduro, he's a puppet from Cuba, and the Castros still dominate Cuba, even though there's a different name there now being as a president, and you don't see Raul. It's still, I mean, they're behind the whole thing in Latin America. It's very sad because the Cubans are awesome people. I mean, it's a beautiful country. The people are awesome, but it's very sad when you go there and you see how they're stuck in time and how they haven't been able to advance in so many things. I don't want to know what Cubans would be like with, if they wouldn't have been shut out from the world. Part of it's beautiful because it made them be more creative, and so they have all these amazing artists and musicians and dancers and painters and poets. They're really culturally, they're very intelligent people, but Castro has always controlled what education they get.
Yeah.
The books are written in Cuba. The 3 TV channels that they get to see are from the state, and they've always been brainwashed. And the same thing happened now in Venezuela. That's why I'm talking about Cuba, because Venezuela is Cuba all over again. It's that simple. And I'm afraid that it could happen here in Mexico, because I see same little things that made me leave Venezuela when I was like, holy shit, this is for real, and this guy's a dictator. And because Chavez was alive when I moved to Mexico. And I've been always telling all my, Bohemian friends, hey man, yeah, AMLO, whatever you're. No, I know you're tired of the red and the blue, and it's always been the red and the blue. Here it's PRI and PAN, PRI, PAN, and then PRI was 70 years in a like a facade kind of dictatorship, because they had elections, but still it was them for over 70 years. Yeah. And so I understand why Mexico went for Morena and why they wanted to change. And AMLO has a very long political career. It's not like he came out of nowhere.
On all the parties.
Oh, yeah. He actually, yeah. I mean, the parties that he criticizes and he hates the most, he came from them. He came from PRI, and once he became old, like it happens, except in the States, the oldest president ever, man. I'm like, wow, man. But still, there's a young vice president, and they've always voted for elder people in the States, and that's why I liked when Barack was there and Bill Clinton. They were a little younger than what I'm used to. But yeah, I mean, here, this guy's old as well, and they're already saying that he's not going to, repeat. But still, who's next? Who's down the line? At least in the States, for me personally, and the States influences the whole planet. I see a bright light at the end of the tunnel. I think this is a good thing. It'll take a little time to adapt, and I just hope that that there's not like a civil war, and that everyone can just sit down and talk. And yeah, if you want to yell at each other, yell, but no bloodshed, it's not worth it. These politics everywhere in the planet, they've been driving us crazy forever. None of them are good, so, don't take it personal, I think that's the most important thing. There should be a message of peace and not fighting, there's so much hatred in the world. And now that they're changing again, the government, I think, hey man, it's just another guy. Let's chill. It's not the end of the world. Nothing is fucked. You know, I mean,
Yeah, and it's a good exercise for the U.S. to understand that whatever happened in the U.S. It doesn't reflect on all of us as Americans, right? It's probably like a very small group of people, and I think that's how they have to see other countries. So whatever is happening in Venezuela, it's like that. It's like it's not all of them. Like there's a bunch of people that are not, they don't like what's happening and everything, and their government don't reflect the people. So when you talk about other people, like if you're an American, like now you have to see things the other way. It happened in the U.S., so now you have to be like, oh well, Mexico is not all cartels and rapists and they're always murdering. It's not like that. It's like
not at all.
it's very different.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, people think that Mexico is like the series on Netflix, Narcos. And yeah, that's a true story, but it's not like that. And I've been here 12 years, and definitely it's a narco government like Venezuela is. And Venezuela was never involved in drugs. And Chavez was very smart. Since he came from the military, the first thing he took care of was the military. He made sure all the high-ranked motherfuckers had anything and everything they needed, and anyone that they wanted to be accommodated was accommodated. And so that was his first smart move. And then just the fact that he found a way to make the cartels work, so the coke from Colombia gets to Sinaloa in Mexico, which is very far, without a problem.
Yeah.
And now Venezuela also has a narco government, and huge, but they don't grow. We don't grow anything in Venezuela anymore, not even oil, man, nothing. But it's the path. They assure the safe passage of the coke. It's very sad, but that's how they've been able to maintain a level of wealth for the military. And so, like we were talking at the beginning, you depend on your army. And that's the way it should be. I mean, they're there to defend you. It's why I always complain here with how badly police are paid, how bad the firemen are paid. I remember when I lived in the States, I lived in my building, there were 2 policemen. I lived in a nice area. It wasn't cheap.
Yeah.
And their kids went to the best schools, and they had good insurances. And I'm not saying that they have amazing salaries in this, but they have a decent quality of life. Here, they live in the ghetto, man.
Yeah.
And they have really bad qualities of life, and they don't get any perks. So, here they try to do their job, but also they're always looking for a little extra because it's to make ends meet. And it's very sad, because you want to feel safe. And here, it's like Switzerland compared to Venezuela, man. In Venezuela, you saw a cop and you were like, fuck. And
really?
dude,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and they would pull you over, and they'd take you to the ATM machine, dude.
Oh shit. Yeah.
And seriously, here that has never happened to me. Here, maximum, it's like, dude, please no, because here the tickets and the, I mean, they're very high, but still, I mean, I've gotten away by giving cash here to police officers, and I don't feel good about it. But I much rather that than go to a Mexican jail or pay a really high. The fines here are really high, and it's sad that they accept it, and it's sad that I offer it. But it's part of how it is here, and it shouldn't be. For me, the police, the firemen, doctors, teachers, all these important people in any society, I think they should have quality of life.
Yeah.
They should be able to live wherever. I'm not saying in Beverly Hills and have a mansion or that too, but no, I mean live in a good area,
class,
man. Yeah, good middle class. That's what I wanted to get to exactly. Good middle class, and send their kids to good schools. Your whole family has insurance. I mean, peace of mind, and that makes everybody mellow down. I think that's why one of the main differences with the law enforcement here, and what this is my experience, and in the States, I mean, I'd never offer a police officer in the States money. It would never go through my mind.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good, like, I have a story about this, like maybe 9 years ago. Usually when I used to come to Mexico, I will rent a car because I was just here for like a week or something like that. And I once rented a car. I was driving from Querétaro to Mexico, and this guy said that I was speeding, but I'm pretty sure I wasn't speeding. But it was like the federal police. They pulled me over.
Oh, they love
And
that.
And dude, he wanted like, he wanted like a bribe, and I was just like, whatever. I was like, whatever, dude, just give me the ticket. I was like, I'll go pay it. I don't give a fuck. And I also wanted to see the process, right? Like, I wanted to see where I had to go
Exactly,
and how much it was. And he was like, nah. He's like, we should like work it out. And I was like, no. I was like, I'm cool, dude. Let's go. Like, I had to go somewhere. I was like come on, dude. We were there for like 20 minutes. He really wanted the bribe, and I was like, no. Just, and I caught up on that. I was like, no, dude, just give it to me. He just left. Like in one of those, we were talking, and he was like, I'll be right back. And he got back in his car, and then he just left. And I was like, what?
Bro, I've got some stories here. I drove from Mexico City all the way to Cancun when I went to live there for 3 years. And I've got some stories going with the federales, man. My God. And, and the whole good cop, bad cop, and then all of my superiors. I was like, holy shit, this is
Bad boys, bad boys. What you gonna do but Mexico style, papi?
it was so fucking. I could only, I saw that police show in my head while he was talking to me. I was like trying not to laugh, and I was moving. I had everything with me. So he found my bong and my pipe, and I was like, dude, it's mine.
Yeah.
And I had some weed, I had some hash. And that's it, dude. But not a lot. I just had some for me. So when I got to Cancun, I had something to smoke. And my God, it was like I wasn't Mexican yet, so he had this whole guilt trip thing going on. Like, well, you come to our country and you're involved in illegal matters, and I'm like, dude, there's five. I mean, you already counted how much cash there is because I had my wallet there in the console of the car. So tell me, he said, all of it. And I'm like, what a bastard, dude. Yeah. And then he said, and the $100 that are inside. I had $100 in my wallet hidden, and he saw them, dude. So it was 5,000 pesos. This is 2013.
He had laser eyes. Dude.
Yeah, dude.
Like,
No, he opened it. Dude, they searched my car like I was like Pablo Escobar, dude.
Oh, fuck.
I was like, what the fuck, dude? And I was with my dog. No. I was his ashes, actually. I wanted to, spread them in the Caribbean because he was originally from Venezuela, like me, and I brought him, and he died here in Mexico. And my wife was going nuts, man. She was like sweating bullets, and they're just, what do they want? And I'm like, they want money, and then they just offer them. And that was my mistake, because if he hadn't count the money, and I would have said, dude, since I'm in a different state and I really don't know where I am and I'm moving, here's 1,000 pesos,
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, $70 or $80, which is a shitload, but still, I wanted to go. But he counted it, dude, and he took 5,000 pesos plus $100. I was like, God damn it.
You know when you can call their bluffs? When you actually don't have any money. When you're like, dude, I don't have any, and then they'll search you, and then they're like, okay, and then you just leave.
And they kept the weed and the hash. I'm like, dude,
that.
then what am I paying for, man? Yeah. I mean, this is ridiculous, but still, that's gotta end. I like when I'm in countries, in first world countries like the U.S., like Canada, like Germany, like England, France, where you see a police officer, they're there to make sure everything is okay.
Yeah,
that's what I feel in those countries, and I can't wait to feel that someday in Mexico because it's important for the society to work for me. And I think that's why Latin America is so crazy, because there's all this corruption in every level and no one knows. You can't trust anybody.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's changing. And, from me coming and going to Mexico, like it always gets better, But I have seen those experiences that you're talking about, and it's just like they take advantage of people who don't know, right? Or you're in the wrong. Not if you're in the wrong. If you're in a different state or something like that, they just take advantage of it. They just want to scare you.
License plates, and they're like.
Yeah, when I used to live in Cabo San Lucas, like I would see it happen to like foreigners all the time, dude. And they were doing nothing wrong, but they were just like. Well, a lot of people didn't speak Spanish, so just right there, people were scared. They were like, "Oh, what's happening?" And they would just like get money out of them, So it is kind of sad. It does happen. It's happening less and less, and yeah, hopefully it stops happening, at some point here in Mexico. But another thing that happened. What happened? Well, Biden actually did, become president. Everything was up. Everything was fine. Nothing crazy happened there. So yeah.
So far, so good.
Yeah, for right now. Well, what is it like? When this comes out, I don't know when this is gonna come out, but it just happened.
It just happened.
Mm-hmm. So
we're happy.
Yeah. Yeah, like I
Most
said,
of my friends are happy at least.
yeah, like I said, even if people don't like it, like it's only 4 years, and then maybe next year it's gonna be Republican again, and it goes and comes and goes. But that's the important thing that
Maybe he bites the dust.
Who?
And then
Oh,
the
Biden?
vice
Yeah.
president.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people that actually are okay with Biden, but they're not okay with vice president because
Hey.
she has other ideas and
Potato,
stuff like that.
potato, tomato, tomato. It is what it is, people. The important thing, like Sarah is saying, is this is what it is. Let's work with it, and especially the society, the people. If politics and those fuckers want to beat the shit out of each other and tear at their throats, go for it, dude. I don't give a shit. But we have to be cool, man. Same thing with Black Lives Matter. I mean, everything that the world's got to fucking chill down, dude. I don't get it, dude. I've never seen color. Seriously, dude.
Yeah.
I've lived in LA and Miami and Caracas, Mexico City. I've been fortunate to travel the world, and I don't see color, man, and I don't get it, dude. And the United States is such a cool country. It's such a great place, and that they still have all these problems like racism and it just blows my mind, dude. It's really sad, dude. It's really sad. That's when you see that, yeah, you have first world and better quality of life and this, but the whole planet, it's messed up, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually, we are at the best. I was reading this book. Actually, I wasn't reading. Somebody told me about this book, but I know what it means.
Stop
when it
lying,
talks
sir.
about- Yeah, I'm like, I caught myself there. They might be watching this. And, the world is at the best it's ever been, Back in the day, it was even more dangerous. People didn't leave their towns because, it was just dangerous. Now, even with all the things that are happening, it's actually the safest it has ever been, The wars, there hasn't been a big war like where millions and millions of people died. And,
I'm going to touch wood.
it's definitely better. It's definitely a better time. We're just like, we're trying to get better, right? So we're always looking for better quality of life. But just to change it up a little bit, I guess an example of how not everything is bad in Mexico is that I was listening to these guys. There's from one of them is from Chicago, the other one's from New York, and they were talking about.
Chicago.
There's always that rivalry, or maybe not even that rivalry, but who's better than the other one, right? So they were talking about like, oh, what's worse, like New York or Chicago, and they were like, well, they used to steal a lot, there used to be a lot of murders, but they were like, actually it has changed a lot, and they were like, it's actually not a big thing anymore. But they were like, even when it was a big thing, it was like very localized. It was like some neighborhoods, like
of course.
Queens, Brooklyn, or I don't know. They were mentioning the cities, right? But they were like, if you got out of there, like nothing. It was like a regular city, and that's the thing about Mexico. Mexico is the same thing. It's like, yeah, some places are bad, but it's like outside of that, it's life.
They're
like,
just bad neighborhoods like any city, just like you said. I agree. Same thing with Caracas. Caracas is gorgeous, dude. It's like a valley in the middle of the jungle in the Caribbean. It's really beautiful. And you've got your barrios, and you just don't go there, dude. And if you stay out of their territory, they don't usually come to yours. So, but that's the thing, I mean, if the police, like going back to that, if they live in el barrio, which is usually what happens in Latin America, then who are you safe from? No one.
Yeah.
'Cause-
Yeah. And actually, in these countries where I guess it's kind of weird, right? Like in these countries, you're not allowed to have guns because in the U.S. they're like, oh, we need guns for our own protection, but it's everything's fine, everything's safe, and it's actually kind of dangerous when everything's fine when you have too many guns. But here, like you can't have a gun, so even if you don't trust the police and you don't trust the military, then you're it's not a good time.
And a good example of what's so bad about having guns. I've never seen any country except the U.S. where the kids go to the schools and they shoot everybody up.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
So
yeah.
pros and cons, people. Pros and cons. They're both great countries. They're right next to each other. They're sister countries, brother countries, whatever you want to call them. You're from Colorado.
Yeah,
I lived in Miami for a long time. I lived for a long time in L.A. I have family in the States. I go all the time. I love it. But yeah, I know that you don't go to the unsafe neighborhoods like.
But what you're mentioning about schools, that actually happened in Columbine. I remember because I was a little kid then.
Holy
Columbine happened in
moly.
like in a middle class, upper class, middle high neighborhood. So yeah, it's really weird how in the U.S. like you don't have all these problems, but it's still like crazy shit happens.
Yeah.
And then you have like the
Some of the
theater shut
craziest shit happens in the States. So that also tells you that, we have to fix a lot of stuff in the States as well, definitely. But I mean, people who have, been fortunate like me to travel and be able to compare. And I think that's what makes me such an open-minded person, and such a, I love all different cultures and races. I grew up in Caracas, man. I mean, you don't get blacker than the black people in Venezuela.
Yeah.
Because they come from
It's the
Africa.
coast, yeah.
So they're like the Cubans. So, I mean, for me,
That's Spock barking because someone arrived at the 420 Hotel.
Yeah,
I'm so
and
excited
again,
about this place, man.
this hotel is like in a really nice area, Condesa. There's a park right in front of it, like it's right in front of the park, at the park.
Yeah.
So it's a really nice location, and just real quick, Condesa is like we were talking about this. Actually, I was reading about Condesa too. It was like a big piece of land. They started cutting it into pieces, but all like the Bohemian, like you were saying, a lot of like international people used to live here.
Yeah.
But then there was a period in Mexico City where actually people left this place, and there was like abandoned. They had like buildings where there was no one living there. It got kind of trashy, but now it's back to like
I call it the Soho of Latin America. It reminds me of New York, kind of, but on steroids. I mean, because New York is not as big. But I'm a fan of both countries, man, and I'm fortunate to have lived in both. And I just want that the world calms down, man. Why all these wars and people killing each other? Why smoke some weed and have some THC in your system? And here we gotta. What's up with the law here, man? I want it to be May now, man. I want it to be legal in Mexico. I need it to be legal in Mexico. I don't want to hide anymore. I want people to benefit this plan and get all the medicine, that's natural for their bodies instead of all these pills and shit that they're getting from pharmacies. I don't know, man.
or even alcohol. I want to party and be able to like do whatever I want, and I don't want to just be like, oh, it's only alcohol that is legal. Everything else, is bad,
Definitely.
and you're gonna get in trouble.
Yeah, like the other day when I was doing the barber shtick, and I said, no, yeah, we'll have to redo one in Desierto de los Leones or somewhere where, where we don't bother anyone, and we can light up a spliff while you shave me. And he's like, yeah, because he really wanted to. And he said, but why not here? And I'm like, dude, we're in the middle of the street. You'll never be able to light up a joint in the street. He's like, why? And I said, it's like beer. It's like alcohol. Do you drink in the street? And he was like, oh.
Yeah, some people don't realize that.
Yeah, but it's stupid for cigarettes.
Yeah.
Because it's like, so I mean, why now you can't smoke in certain cities inside of apartments? Because you can't smoke cigarettes because the tar or something from the cigarette is what sticks the smell to everything. That doesn't happen with marijuana. So they actually put no cigarettes.
Marijuana's okay. I want to live there, man. I mean, what the heck?
Cannabis,
I think
like-
eventually it'll be no cigarettes anywhere, and they're gonna be like almost illegal, and that this will be the new cigarette, dude, because it's so much healthier. I smoke cigarettes. I hate that I smoke cigarettes. I've quit 2 times, once for 5 years and once for 2 years, and then like a retard, it's like, hey man, can I have one? Next thing you know, you're at the 7-Eleven buying it or whatever store, and oh man, it sucks, man. I wish I only smoke weed, and I think it can turn to that once everyone gets educated and they all this taboo turns into scientific proof and reality for millions of people. Then I think in a lot of places, I was actually somewhere in California and you couldn't smoke cigarettes anywhere, dude, only in your home.
Yeah.
Like if you own your home, that's it.
Oh
dude.
yeah. If you rent,
It
you
was.
still
I can't remember. It's where the Kardashians. I swear to God, I was there visiting a friend who's a musician.
Hollywood
and
Hills?
Nah. It's some big in the middle of the mountains. It's gorgeous, dude. And I was gonna light a cigarette we were at a mall, and no, what are you doing? I'm like, is it okay? Where's the smoking area? No, there's no smoking in blah 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 county. I was like, no smoking, but you can smoke at his house. I was shocked, dude.
Yeah, that's crazy. See, I think that's taking it a little too far. Like, I still believe in freedoms. So it's like, I hope, like, actually vaporizers, like, why couldn't you have a vaporizer? Like.
Oh, I vape in the street and in the restaurants and in the airplanes
And I mentioned that because I like vaporizers. I don't actually like to smoke, but anything, like cigarettes or marijuana. But it's
I
like,
like everything
I
with
like
THC.
How about them beers we had?
oh yeah, you guys are gonna see that video. That was some good stuff. I'm actually interested in buying some, even if the regular ones without THC, because that was good beer. So
That's what I like too, man. That's what I keep telling him. He actually asked me, "Hey, man, you know my sex oil CBD thing? Will you interview me?" I'm like, "Of course, dude."
Where's this gonna be? Is this gonna be in a hotel? Like
Yeah, we're
in a
gonna.
motel?
I want to get like a hooker or something, man. You know, like hey, bloody pussy, smelly pussy. You remember that, man?
You gonna test it out?
Cheech Marin, I love you, Cheech. Come to Mexico. Come to the Weekend Show.
Oh, I didn't know you were talking about.
Hey, man, we got smelly joints. We got fat joints. We got turned on joints. We got everything here, man. Hey, man. You ever see Cheech and Chong?
Yeah, a little bit. It's
You're
it's
younger
yeah.
than me.
I was
I
gonna say-
love.
I didn't
Cheech
want
and
to say
Chong,
that,
man.
but
I love their old movies, dude. They're great, and you know, Chong had his acting career on that '70s show when he came back, and I was like, wow, you know, and now they're doing amazing again. Of course, you know, Cheech is like, fuck, what am I doing? I mean, I have to dedicate my life to cannabis. Yes, of course, man. You're fucking Cheech. And he did it, man. And they have dispensaries opening up soon now. Cheech and Chong Dispensorias, something like that.
oh yeah, they got the brands
Yeah,
too.
man, they got everything, man. There's some cool cats, man, and we're gonna have some cool cats here soon on the show. I'm excited. You know, you know, as the year goes on and the COVID starts mellowing down a bit, you know, we're getting a chance to, you know, bring people here or we go to them, and it's always just me and Sar and one person. So, you know, we're keeping it chill. I'm not even having guests yet on the radio show. This Saturday or yeah, my next radio show. I'm doing it with a buddy that we used to do radio in Venezuela together, but he's working at La Bestia. So he's there. You know, it's like, you know, I don't want to bring external people to La Bestia because no one is. So I said, let's old school, man. Let's go, you know, back to our roots and do a radio. So we're going to do a Beatles special. You just check it out. It's going to be fun this Saturday, man.
Nice. Looking forward to that. Again, how do they find that? Like,
That is the Weedkend Show. It's on La Bestia Radio. They have their own best web page, or you can see it on Instagram. It's La Bestia Radio MX from Mexico. And yeah, man, maybe we'll throw some graphics there so they can see the web page as well, and so you can hear it online. And you can also hear it on the Instagram and see my funny little face while I'm doing it, because they got this shitty little camera, but still you can see me. But we're gonna fix that soon. I want like an HD close up here, like, hey, how you doing, man? Yeah, welcome to the Weekend Show. That's what I'm looking for. You know what I'm talking about?
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're gonna like it, dude. Sometimes they get too HD there. You can see your pores and everything.
Oh man, you are welcome to see
You
anything.
can see the THC oozing out of your face.
So, a question: Does your father have an accent like this, or he's American?
Oh
American?
no, yeah. He's been living there for a long time. So he's from India. My dad's from India. Well, my natural father.
Yes,
Yeah,
my biological.
my
father.
biological father. He's from India, and he has an accent, but you know, it's not as strong. He's been there for like
He's been there forever.
30 years, I think.
I love the Birdie Num Num accent. I love it. Peter Sellers, Birdie Num Num. I miss you, Peter.
Peter who?
Peter Sellers. Oh, he was a great British comedian.
He did the
okay.
Pink Panther movies, the Inspector
Oh,
Clouseau.
you told me about
and-
this. Yeah.
Dude,
I confused it with Peter
I'm
Russell.
gonna have to invite him over, get really baked, and show him some old footage.
definitely, man. There's some good, funny shit that we can see together. Because yeah, I mean, humor is a big part of life, and there, you know, that's one of the things that I like about Cheech and Chong. You know, they had the humor side of weed. You know, and I'm obviously always going to be attached with humor as well because I like being funny and, you know, making sounds and noises. You know, kind of like Robin Williams was when he was on coke. But I'm on weed. See,
Maybe if he would have been on weed, he'd still be alive.
I think he did do weed. He was like. a
oh,
weed
I'm
guy,
sure
yeah.
he did weed,
Yeah.
but dude. He was like the coke king, man. You know, that's why he was always,
Hey, everybody, work for Mindy and shit.
you know, man. He was awesome, dude. I'm a big fan of the Williams.
Yeah,
of the
that-
Robin
that makes
Williams.
sense,
Yeah, that's
One of my
right.
favorites.
Robin Williams, yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, guys, this is we're gonna wrap it up. Again, we are at the what's the name of the place?
Well, it really doesn't have a name.
Oh, okay.
We're going to give it a name once we legalize in Mexico and it's legally a 420 touristic stop. Because it already is, you know, because it's funny, whenever we're hanging out at my buddy's, because he lives, there's 4 suites that he rents out, and he lives in the middle. He has a 1 bedroom, and we always hang there. And I guess everybody smells weed, and eventually they're like, "Hey, man, can you hook me up?" So. Yeah, it's already a weed friendly, but officially we'll do it when it's kosher. We like doing kosher stuff.
I'm Jewish. I can't help it. I don't eat kosher, but I like doing kosher stuff.
And actually, I read that Condesa, back in the 1920s, there was a huge population of Jewish people from the Eastern Europe that immigrated into Mexico, and they came
That's
to
right.
Condesa. So there's a big Jewish community here too.
There still is. One of the main synagogues passed away in the last earthquake.
Oh, really?
Right around the corner. It was the main, the center, actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was bad. But,
Did they rebuild it? Is there a new one?
No,
Brand new one?
There's another one that they kind of moved to, and that would already exist, but people started using that one.
Mm-hmm.
And that terrain is still there. I don't know what they're going to do there, if they're selling it or if they're going to
Probably
rebuild.
worth a lot of money, dude.
Oh, I'm sure. The Condesa is a very nice area. If you guys come to Mexico City, definitely consider La Condesa. LACONDSESA. Condesa.
Most tourists come here. Like, it's very well known.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all the bars, like all the nightclubs, like, the big ones, the popular ones are here.
Not now, but...
Oh, not anymore? Okay.
Well, no,
Oh, no, because
everything's
COVID. Yeah.
closed,
Yeah, actually,
you
yeah.
know?
Yeah, if you come... I was thinking about this earlier today. I was like, if you're a tourist and you're here during COVID, there's actually, like, not many things you can do. Also, if you're an expat and you work here, because, being an expat, like, there's the expat parties and, like, the get-togethers just for expats. But, dude, right now everything's closed. It's, like, there's nothing to do if you're an expat or you're a foreigner here.
You can smoke weed. Let me know. I'll hook you up.
Hit them up. Instagram, The Weedkend Show.
Yeah, The Weedkend Show on Instagram, here on YouTube. Give us a like, follow. Please share with everyone. We want everyone to have a good time and get to know us. We're going to have some amazing interviews with some interesting people in the cannabis industry here and all over the world. So
And this is an audio podcast too, so you can find us on Spotify, in iTunes, in wherever you get your podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts. Oh man, I can keep going. But anywhere, we're everywhere.
That's awesome, dude. You know what? That's awesome. All right, guys. I'm Marvin Weisman.
And I am Sar.
This is the Weedkend Show podcast.
Peace.
Choo. Bye, hello, papito.